This episode of the Teen Writing Nook is brought to you by the process mocking situation. Because why come up with your own writing process that would fit you much better when you can mock someone else's? Season 1, Episode 9, The ADHD Writing Compass. This is the Teen Writing Nook. For teen writers, by a teen writer. Creativity, not consistency. Chaos, not perfection. I'm J.K. Williams, and today we'll be talking about writing processes for people with ADHD, or for teen writers with ADHD specifically. Now, to start off this episode, I want to make it clear and crystal clear that nothing in this episode is prescriptive, meaning you do not have to do what I do for yourself. Writing processes are highly personal and should be highly personal. This is to help you find your writing process with little bits of mine intertwined, because that's how I work best. But it's really how you work best that matters. So don't take anything seriously. You can try it, just don't make it your process. Don't make my process your process. Let's get real for a moment. Being a teen writer is hard. Being a teen writer with ADHD is like trying to drive a Ferrari with a bicycle chain. Your brain wants to go 200 miles per hour, but sometimes the gears won't catch. For a long time, I thought a writing process meant sitting in a mahogany chair for 4 hours with a cup of tea, but for us, that's a recipe for a meltdown or a nap. My process isn't about discipline in the traditional sense, it's about momentum. If I'm not excited, the words don't move. We need to talk about how to gamify the boring parts and lean into the hyperfixation phases. So there are three pillars that I use in my writing routine and process. And writing routines and processes are very different for everyone, but I'm going to touch a little bit on my routine and my process. My routine is what allows me to have my process. The process is the whole writing of the book. The routine is what you do when you sit down to write. Well, because my writing routine is unique, it affects my process. So I'm going to talk about that real quick. For me, my writing routine consists of grabbing a Coca-Cola from the fridge, a mini can, sitting down with my typewriter, and typing on my typewriter the book that I'm trying to work on. And then that later becomes a thing to transcribe later on in my process. And once I transcribe, I edit and so on and so forth. So that's my process. But your process can be and should be very, very different. There are three pillars, let's call them, for the teen writer with ADHD process. And these are tools, they are not prescriptions, they are not prescribed to you, they are there for you if you want them, but you don't have to use them. The first pillar is the chaos draft. You need to stop trying to write linearly. If you're excited about the ending, write the fucking ending. If you're bored with the transition machine, skip it. Use brackets like they fight and somehow get to the castle or wherever they're going, and move on. ADHD brains crave the new. Feeding that craving keeps the project alive. If you let that craving die, you lose all your motivation and the project dies with the craving. Sensory anchors. I use specific triggers to tell my brain it's time to work. Like I get the Coca-Cola from the fridge. I sit down at my desk. I sit down wherever. I pull out my typewriter or my notepad or my laptop. Although I really don't like to write on my laptop, sometimes I have to because that's the only thing I have. Um, the point is, you need to find your sensory triggers. There should be this happens, then I do this, then I write. I do this, then I write. That is what helps. And that first thing should be a sensory thing. The visual horizon is the third pillar. We struggle with the out of sight, out of mind. If my manuscript is just a file on my computer, it doesn't exist. I need binders, stickers, and physical maps in my plot. Make your writing a physical presence in your office room or wherever you are when you write. Now, I'm recording this on the last Saturday of my spring break, so I wanted to give you some advice since it's spring break. The lack of a school routine can be a nightmare for ADHD writers. My advice, pick one power hour. Don't try to write all day. Pick 60 minutes, set a timer, and see what happens. Thank you so much for tuning into the Teen Writing Nook. I'm JK Williams. Please follow me on Instagram and Substack and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find those in the description of this episode. And just have a great day. This has been the Teen Writing Nook. You're in the Nook, so you should probably be writing.